Welcome to the lecture of production of automotive components. So here we'll be dealing about the fourth unit, which is chassis components. So first we'll talk about the material selection and manufacturing methods for vehicle frame manufacturing. So if you talk about chassis, it's basically the basic part that supports all other body parts, the suspension, everything that is added to it. So what it contains actually is the frame, and it also includes the suspension, wheel drum. So all these components which basically take up the load directly from the road. So here you can see pictures of the vehicle being manufactured. You can see that a lot of welding will be involved. You can see a lot of robots who are doing the welding process. So next we'll talk about the material selection for frame. So the basic criteria is the material has to be lightweight, economic, safe and recyclable. Why lightweight is that we need to decrease the emission that is going on into the environment, so only the light metals can improve the fuel efficiency, right? So that's the reason why we need lightweight materials. So how the weight reduction can be done is basically substituting elements of high precise weight with moderate density materials, like substituting steel with aluminium, right? And second one is optimizing the design. The design itself you can optimize to make sure that the whole frame is lighter. And third is optimizing the production process. So you can decrease the number of welding processes, joining techniques to make sure that the final frame is light. Second is talking about the economic factor. So you know that almost all the industries are driven by the economic factor, which is the cost. So we have to make sure that the cost of raw materials, manufacturing, cost of design, everything is as less as possible. And if you talk about in terms of price, per kg aluminum, magnesium are more costly compared to that of steel and cast irons. So you need to make sure that the material is not very costly as well. Third is related to safety. So safety is again a very important parameter that determines which material has to be chosen. So the material has to make sure that it is crash worthy and penetration resistance, because the safety of the passengers inside outside both is important. So the material has to absorb all the energy that can happen when there is a collision. Third is recyclable. So in order to make sure that the environment is green, you have to choose materials that can be recycled as well. Steel can be easily recycled. Aluminium involves a very high cost. So talking overall about the function of a frame is to support vehicles' mechanical components and body, and to deal with all the static and dynamic loads without any deflection or distortion. So first talking about steel. So steel is the mostly common use material for frame. Not only for the vehicle body steel is used, also for engine, chassis, wheels and many other parts steel has been used. And why? Because it is low cost manufacturing, it's easily recyclable. So that's the reason why steel was used, and it can also absorb the impact energy that can be produced in a crash. So suppose your car hits another car, the steel frame will be able to absorb all the energy. So you can see steel frames used in 2019 Jeep, Toyota Corolla, Kia Forte, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen Jetta and Acura RTX. So all these cars use steel. You can also think of other cars which you're aware of. Next is aluminium, and aluminium you can see it's widely used nowadays, mainly because it leads to the reduction in weight of the vehicle. So high specific energy absorption and low weight, precise strength are the most significant characteristics. It's resistant to corrosion as well. So aluminium usage is used mainly in the chassis applications for wheels, brackets, brake components, suspension, steering, instrument panels, like all of them use aluminium components. So 50% of the weight can be reduced by using that of aluminium instead of steel. Acura NX6, BMW's i8, Mercedes-Benz SL, Audi A8, Jaguar, Tesla Model S, Alfa Romeo 4C, Chevrolet Corvette, so all these use aluminium frames. So here is just a quick revision of all the frame parts which you must be aware of now. So in front what you have, Yes, so here what you have is nothing but your bulkhead, which is a part of the frame which absorbs energy in case of collision. You have the wheel housing, then you have all these rails. Okay, so all these are called the frame rails. You have floor frame, center floor frame, floor tunnel, the one which goes in between, that is called tunnel. In some cars it is there, you can see that raised part in between, that is a tunnel. And if you see, you also have like crossbars, so that which comes like in lateral you call it as crossbars, and one in this direction you call it as longitudinal bars. Then you have the rear frame space for the tire pan and rear wheel house as well. So these are the various parts. So if you see the overall manufacturing process, it will include making these frame rails. That is the main thing. After that, they are joined together by using welding processes or riveting. So main manufacturing process will be, so talking about the manufacturing of frame rails, so if you see in chassis, frame is made up of rails or beams. These are nothing but channel sections which are manufactured by using folding, rolling or pressing the steel plate. So there are three designs. One is C shape, other one is hat shaped, other one is box shape. So we'll see all these shapes one by one. First we'll talk about the open C channel. So this is nothing but the open C channel, where you can see that this rail is in the shape of the alphabet C. So it's the most commonly used. How it is made is by taking a flat piece of steel and you have to roll both the sides. So when you roll, you get a C shape. So that is a C shape frame rail. Second is the hat. So hat is basically shape of U. So it's not like C completely, it is like rounded about at the corners. So it is U shape, and that is basically not very much in use because it has a propensity to rust because of this shape, right? But it can be used in some certain Chevrolet cars and steel breakers. High performance custom frame using box rails and tube sections. So these can be basically used for unibody cars. You must be aware of the different types of frame structures. So you have ladder type, which is mostly used in trucks and buses. So it's basically in the shape of ladder, like how this is, right? So similarly you have unibody, you have the sports car, which is basically made up of monocoque design. So basically for unibody cars you use like heart shape. So this is again this way, and again it is done by manufacturing by taking a flat plate which is rolled on both the sides. And third one is a box type. So box type is this, like rectangular box you can imagine. So two C rails that are welded together, that basically gives a box shape. So instead of welding, what you can use using the most modern techniques is you can take a steel that is bent into four sides, and then it can be welded where both the ends meet. So you can bend it once here, second, third bend, fourth bend, and then these two parts will be welded. So that is again one more way in which the frame rails are manufactured. So in 1960s, box frames of conventional American cars were spot welded. So the welding which you do is spot welding, and it can be used, the box was continuously welded from end to end for extra strength. So this is about the third type of frame rails. So if you see the overall manufacturing of frame rails, it basically includes taking a flat steel plate, rolling it on both the ends, and then welding. And similarly different frame rails and cross members, all these different parts of the frame are connected to each other by welding again as well. Thank you.